Hello everyone, Roger here again, and I just got my first request from one of my viewers wanting to see what's under some of the rocks on the beaches on Malcolm Island. So it's low tide, but in the coming days we're supposed to get some lower tide. So I'm just going to go down and flip over some rocks. I got a good spot here that I used to check out when I was a kid, and I know we'll see some neat marine life there for those of you who don't get to see any of the ocean critters where you live. It's a windy day here in Sointala, and the tide's not that low, so I'll come back in the future when the tide's a little lower, but we'll see what's down there today and take a look. Now this is a good spot where if you want to see some marine life under the rocks. I used to come here as a kid and flip over these rocks every time we would come out here to move the cow and whatnot. So let's go see what's under these rocks. Oh, there's this. So here we got some eels. And you might think that they're starving for oxygen because they breathe with gills, but they have enough underneath the rocks and the little bit of water there to survive, and they obviously survive because they live under the rocks during low tides. Look at that one going under the rock there. Now eels can be a little bit tricky to catch, especially if I have to hold the camera with one hand. So I'm going to try and grab it. Now if you're going to pick up an eel, you grab them from the head. You can see it's a little slippery bugger. And there we go, we got an eel in my hand. You can see this ridge along its back. It's full of tiny little spikes. And as it's sliding through your hands, that thing could act like a razor blade, and it could actually cut you like a paper cut. This little ridge here. Gently move this rock back because we don't want to hurt them, so we'll just go like so. Put it back the way it was so no predators eat them, and let's go see what's under some other rocks. Here we have the remnants of a sea urchin, so I'll pick it up here and show you. That's the insides if you're looking inside a sea urchin. Full little spikes. These are limpets, which are in these shells here. There's actually the foot of a creature. Oh, he might come off. Once you touch them, they get pretty hard to come off. They really grab onto the rocks. But sometimes you can move them. Even the smaller ones are easier to get off the rocks. But the nickname for those, which I grew up knowing them, is called China hats, because they're shaped like those hats that the Chinese wear when they're in the rice fields. So the nickname is China hats, but they're called limpets. Now you can see the seagulls are kind of like crows. So when they see you flipping over rocks, you'll get the seagulls flying over because they're hoping you're going to flip over some rocks and there's going to be some food that they could easily grab. And here we got a boom chain. So this is how they connect a tow of logs, and then they square it off so that the logs stay together, and these chains hold these boomsticks, keeping the logs in this big group, and then they tow them to where they need to go in the water out there. Maybe sometime I'll show you a tug and towing a boom of logs. Here we got seagrass. Sometimes you can find these little crabs, spider crabs that live in the seagrass. This looks like a good rock. Let's flip it over. And we got an eel again, and a little crab. Let's go take a look at this crab here. There we go. Now if you look at the bottom of a crab, he's gonna let me show you. It's actually a she, this one. There we go. You can see it's got a round patch underneath. That's how you tell if it's a female. And maybe I'll see if I can find you a male. And once again, we're just gonna gently put the rock back so we don't disturb them. We've got all these barnacles here, so you have to make sure you're walking on the beach with good footwear because they could cut up your feet real bad. Well, let's see what's under this little flat rock here. That's what I thought. More eels splashing around everywhere. And here we got a cool chunk of quartz. Looks like it was a geode at one time with some crystals growing inside. So there's definitely more life on the beach in the spring and the summer, so I will make another video of this, but this is what life on the shores of Malcolm Island is like in the middle of winter. Oh, there's a big guy. Let's see if we can catch him. Oh, he's fast. He's fast. Oh, there's a big crab too. Look at that. Now, when you grab a crab, you want to grab from below. Oh, perfect. Kind of hard to grab him when I'm also holding the camera. So, you grab from below so he can't pinch you. Now, if you see, he's got like a pointy spot here on my thumb. That one tells me he's a male. Also, the males have bigger pinchers. Look at those pinchers on that guy. And he wants to pinch me, but he can't pinch me when I hold him from here. So let's let him go and see what this one is. And this one, perfect. We got a female. Now the female's pinch isn't so bad. You can see that one's a female. It's got a round patch underneath. And we'll pick up the male again. And we got the male with the bigger pinchers. And that pointy thing underneath is how you tell it's a male. And here's that big eel. Try and grab him. I got him. Oh, he got me. He got me. Slippery bugger. Got him. Oh, I had him. All right, I'm gonna just head back to the truck here now. We'll drive to another beach and see what it's like maybe on the mud flats. It's not that low a tide right now, so I don't think the mud flats are gonna be that exposed. So I'll check them again in a future video when there's a lower tide, but let's go see. It's a bit windy here today, and I'm on a different beach here now. I'm at Prickempera or Lions Park, and we're gonna go take a look at the mud flats. Even though it's not the lowest of tides, it does go out pretty low during any low tide here. So we'll go right down to the very edge and check things out. Let's go. All right, you can see way off in the distance how far down the tide goes, even on a low tide or a not so low tide. Still gets pretty low. So let's go walk and see why they call it the mud flats. Yeah, all this mud here. And I'll point some things out when I see some interesting features in the mud. It's actually quite solid to walk on. And the tide goes out quite a ways. I'm kind of sheltered from the wind here, but as soon as I get around this point, I'm pretty sure it's going to get windier, and I'll have to pick up my voice so you can hear me. There's not too much to look at under these rocks. Of course, we got kelp here and there, but the further down we get, there's more life. And here we can take a look down here. You see some bird tracks, taking a look if they can find any food. And I'm still walking, I haven't made it down there yet. Oh, here comes the wind, so I have to pick up my voice so you can hear me. You see all these wavy lines? That's from the waves as the tide's coming in or out. It shifts the sand and makes these beautiful wave patterns. And still a ways down. Still got a ways to go to walk down to the beach. Oh, it's windy facing that way. Got this little tide stream going here. Now you have to be very careful when you're exploring the mud flats, especially as the tide's coming in, because these little streams that connect the tide pools together collect the water as it's coming in fast, and sometimes you wouldn't even notice it, but you'll get trapped on some of these islands out here if you're not careful. They're not really islands, they're just patches of higher land, and as the tide's coming in, they could trap you out there, so you have to be very careful. Alright, the further down the beach we go towards the tide line there, the more life you start to see. You can see there's a lot more kelp on the rocks. Now hopefully we'll come across a clam hole. I can point out how you find clams on a sandy, muddy beach like this. Here's something interesting. This little critter right here, that's a sea anemone. And I'll see if I can find one when it's opened up in the tide pool. They open up with these tentacles and they grab their prey. Here's another one over here. And it's basically just a mouth and a stomach. All right, we're getting closer to the edge. Still a ways to go. Tide flats go out quite a ways, and this is not the lowest of tides, so they go out even further than this. I know it's safe to go down here right now because the tide is still going out as I'm filming this. But if the tide was coming in right now, I'd have to be careful, especially on a windy day like this, because the water could really come in really fast. Get down further to flip over some rocks, but generally on mud flats, when you flip over rocks, there's not that much of interest underneath them. But I just want to show you how far down the beach goes when the tide is really low on the mud flats. Here on Malcolm Island. You're going to hear me say that quite a bit because I really want to preserve the Finnish history and culture on this island, because it is my ancestors there's roots here. And here we're coming to the edge of the beach, or the edge of the tide line, I mean. And then I'll turn back and show you just how far down the beach from the road I have now. Alright, we're at the edge. Water's edge. I'm going to turn around and show you what it looks like. Way up in the tree line there, that's the road. So that's how far down I walked. It's quite a ways. Okay, so I'm going to go see if I can find some interesting rocks to flip over and show you what lives down here. You can see here, the deeper the water goes, the larger the barnacles get. And sometimes you'll see these really big barnacles that wash up. They're from deeper waters, and I'll show you some in future videos when I go beachcombing. I'm just going to see if I can wiggle this lift off the rocks. There we go. Just try not to hurt it. Flip it upside down, and as you can see underneath, it's like a little snail. And right up at the top here is its head. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm trying to get it in focus for you. And we call them China hats because you can see it looks like a China hat. Let's put them back on the rock. Oops. There we go. Great, I'm not finding anything too interesting down on the mud flats today, but I'll flip over some more rocks. Oh, lots of crabs in this one. Look at all those crabs. Tons of crabs. And we got a living sea urchin. This is a live sea urchin. So you can see underneath. There we go. It zoomed right in. You can see the mouth. And I'm not sure if you can notice, but the little spines are, there we go. Zoom in on it. They're moving around. You can see that. That's a sea urchin. I also got tons and tons and tons of these little shells. And they're little snail shells. And they sometimes come in really neat little patterns and colors. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was a blast off on the mountains on Vancouver Island, where they're doing some road building somewhere over there for logging. And every once in a while you'll hear those blasts. Right here we got a cool looking shell. Look at that. That's a neat shell. We got some crabs again here. Let's see if flip them over. Flip them over on his side. There we go. And there's another boy. You can tell from the bigger pincher. You can see that little pincher there. At some point he lost that pincher, probably during a fight, and they grow back. So, oh, and he just broke off one of his legs there. He did that, I didn't do that. That's a self-defense thing they do. And I just dropped him, but he's okay. They're pretty hard-shelled creatures. Oh, and then look at this. We have a sea lice here. Or an isopod, a sea isopod. We call them sea lice. There's another isopod here. They really grab onto your skin. So I'm gonna head back to the truck and I'll maybe see if there's beach I could go to. Let's go check out some other beaches on Malcasar and Malcolm Island.